guys, so this is me doing a makeup tutorial. Don't know what I'm gonna do and don't know what kind of look I'm gonna do, so I'm just gonna wing it at this point. So first is eyebrows, of course. Can't go wrong with eyebrows. I use powder because pomade is too dark. I'm using this e.l.f. powder, not the powder, Maybelline Brow Drama to set the brows. And also my Jeffree Star brushes with Morphe. These brushes are amazing. Top brushes, really recommend them. You can't go wrong with them. So I'm using the eyebrow brush that is in the set. It comes with a spoolie on one side and the brush on the other side, which is really precise. And I love this eyebrow brush. So I'm going to take the brush side, of course. It's really good. As you can see, I am very excited. And then I just mixed the two powders that I showed you. The e.l.f. one, the powder, and the other three set. I had the eyebrow powder set for so long, I don't even know what brand it is anymore. But it's a good color, so that's why I keep on using it. The darkest powder. I mixed the two and it makes a really good shade for me. In powder, eyebrow, whatever it's called. Tap off the excess, because if you go in with too much product at first, your eyebrow is going to look really crazy. So the trick is to go little by little, section by section when it comes to eyebrows. And yeah, just me for my eyebrows. My eyebrows are naturally like arched down for some odd reason, and if I tried to arch them more up, it would look really weird. So I just have to work with the eyebrows that I have. I obviously have a lot of hair already on my eyebrows, so filling in is not really necessary all the time. And I have a pimple in my eyebrow, so that is not good. But I do fill them. When I fill them in, I fill them with powder. I have the Anastasia brow pomade, but I feel like it's too much of an intense and bold brow for me. So that's why I like to use powder. So I just keep going in with the powder, mix the two, and brush them along my hairs. Don't brush too hard, because then you will like pull off your actual eyebrow hairs. Then you go lighter in the front. I try to do a fade all the time, but doesn't always work. At this point, it did work a little bit, as you can see. Now you can see the difference between when they're filled in and when they're not. And now I'm gonna go do the other one off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back doing both eyebrows. They look pretty good. Next, I'm gonna carve them out with the NARS concealer in shade Macadamia. It's this like pot concealer. I really like it. I'm using this Wet n Wild little concealer brush to carve them out. I got this brush like the dollar store. It's really good. Wet n Wild makes some really good products, and they don't get enough credit as they should. So I'm just carving the bottom of my eyebrows with the Wet n Wild concealer for both eyebrows. I did not carve the top because I feel like it makes them too light. So I just carved the bottom to clean them up, make them look pretty sharp and even, because they're naturally not really even. And I go down, as you can see, because my eyebrows are really down for some odd reason. Then I blend it with this brush that is supposed to be used for cream eyeshadow, but I use it for concealer to blend them out because it's really precise and it gets all up in there in the little crevices and underneath the brow, and it's just perfect to blend. So that's why I like using this brush to blend with the concealer. So as you can see, I'm just brushing it against the concealer, making sure it's no patchiness or nothing. Then I go a little bit in the front of the brow to kind of like sharpen it up. I don't put it all over my eyelids yet because I put a different concealer on my eyelids. So you can see the difference between when they're carved and when they're not. They just look better carved with the concealer. I like using this concealer because it's not as drying as other concealers. And it's a really good shade for underneath the brows because it brightens it up. So I just use the brush, go back and forth, make sure no spot is not missing any concealer. You really want to go careful with this step because one wrong move and your whole eyebrow is covered in concealer. So me giving you a thumbs up because I actually did that the first time correctly. Blend it out with the brush, a little bit in the front to kind of blend it all together and make it look seamless. I really like this brush. I recommend using a small cream eyeshadow brush to blend your concealer underneath your brows. Looking good. So, for the top of my brows, I use foundation, but as you can see, I'm just brushing my eyelash extensions because they think that they have their own life and can do their own thing and be wild. And no, you have to stay in your place and act right. So, I get my foundation next from CoverGirl, the True Blend foundation in shade M70. That is my shade that I use. And I grab one little small pump on the brush that I used for my concealer, but I wiped off the concealer. And I carve the top of my brows. I look directly into the mirror, and as you can see, you can't even see what I'm doing. Like, I need to fix my camera angle or get a smaller mirror because you can't even see what I'm doing. But anyways, besides the point, carving the top of my brows is pretty easy. Just follow the shape at which you did your eye makeup of, and then you do a little concealer foundation in the middle of your brows, and that looks pretty accurate. So I used too much foundation on one brow, so I just slide it over to the next brow so you don't waste a lot of product and you don't look cakey from the top of your brows. Less is more. So you continue to do that. I just like making sure that it's really smooth out and blended because I feel like an important part of your face makeup is your eyebrows, and I like them to be somewhat decent and perfect. But as you can see, I messed up. I put a little bit of concealer in the middle of my eyebrow, so I had to fix that. And next I'm grabbing the Morphe X Jeffree Star sponge. Me dropping everything off my vanity, picking up the sponge now. It's a wet sponge, and I use that to blend the foundation that I put on top of my brows. I love this sponge because it's good and it blends really good, and it's tiny, so it gets all up in there. I wouldn't be able to blend the top of my eyebrow foundation with a big sponge because I feel like it would get in the way. This is really precise and it gets the job done. That's why I really like the sponge. So I blend the foundation because, well, obviously, and then I'm gonna later put more foundation on my forehead. And I take that same brush that I used for my concealer and blend the foundation on top. A little more with a sponge, and I have to fix where I messed up. I just take the brush, whatever's left over from when I did my brows, and fix the middle, the beginning of my brow. Now it's good. So continue blending and make sure everything's good and blended, that there's no creases. Next, I set my brows with the Maybelline Brow Drama. This is like a brow gel or mascara. So I like to use this to set my brows so the hairs won't go everywhere. I use shade dark brown. Now, brows are complete. Now I'm putting away all the products that I used for my brows in my little acrylic organizer. Me not trying to drop everything. Getting my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in shade 25. This is my absolute holy grail concealer. I love this concealer. I use it for prepping my eyelids for eyeshadow because I have really, really greasy eyelids. So I use the concealer to brighten up my eyelids and not make them oily because I will set it with the powder. Use my tiny Jeffree Star and X Morphe sponge once again. And then blending the concealer out. Try not to rip off all of my lash extensions because the making of this video, over like 15 lashes fell off. And yeah. So me not trying to rip off my lash extensions and carefully blending the concealer. And it brightens up my eyelids because I have dark pigmentation on my eyelids. And setting it with the Master Fix setting powder by Maybelline. And spilling it all over the place. Great. That is the story of my life. And lash extensions falling out everywhere. So I use the sponge, the wet sponge, and get the powder and put it on my eyelid because the wet sponge will melt the powder into your skin. So that's why I like using a wet sponge to basically bake underneath the eyes and on the eyelids. Then I take this Flawless Concealer brush from Morphe and dust off all the residue powder off my eyelids and blend it in pretty good. That's how it looks. I like a blank canvas for my eyeshadow so it can all blend pretty good. And lash extensions going everywhere, so I have to brush them again because they're looking a little crazy. And I really, really need to fix this camera angle because you cannot see anything. Or I just need to stop looking in the mirror all the time. So I do the same to the other eye, the blending of the concealer, and then I put setting powder on it. A lot of people do not set their concealer on their eyelids, but I have to because my eyelids are overly greasy. And the grease will just eat up all the eyeshadow if I do not set with the powder. So powder is very necessary in my makeup routine. And I use a lot of it. But my favorite for under the eye is Laura Mercier. But I like to use an inexpensive one on my eyelids because I feel like it's not as important as under the eye. Using the same Morphe elf brush to blend out the eyelid powder and brushing up my lash extensions and combing them through. Once again, it's a struggle because they get in the way and they get covered in makeup. So brushing them is very necessary at all times. So that's how it looks with prepared eyelids for eyeshadow and done eyebrows. So next is eyeshadow. So I'm gonna use the James Charles X Morphe palette. I love this palette. I got it for my birthday and it was the best gift I've ever got in my entire life. This palette, I kid you not, is amazing. If you're on the fence to getting it, I really suggest getting it because once you get it, you fall in love with it and there's no going back. Literally every look I'm probably gonna do is using this palette. So my lash extension's getting stuck once again, bothering me. Now I finally fixed my mirror because I barely noticed that you can't see anything I was doing. That was great. Next I'm gonna use this Real Techniques crease brush. Oh, never mind. I'm gonna go in with this Wet n Wild fluffy brush. I'm going to shade Canvas. It's like this pale color. And I like to use a base color because it helps the other colors blend later on. So I put the base color all over both lids. It really doesn't matter. You can go messy because you can't even see it on my eyelids. So this is a really good base color. I really like it because it's like almost the same color as my concealer on my eyelids. Now I go in with my Real Techniques brush and I go into shade. Which shade is that? Oh, Code James. I go into shade Code James, which is literally my favorite shade out of the whole palette. Like, this is the best crease shade I've ever used in my entire life. This shade is like iconic and like I use it like every day. So I like to blow off the excess and build up the color slowly because if you go in with too much, it's gonna become patchy and hard to blend. So going in little by little, it creates a good blended effect. So I do this multiple times to really get the color that I want for my transition shade. But Code James is like a really good color. So that's why I'm like falling in love when doing this eyeshadow look. Next, I get a different Real Technique brush and go into shade 10% off. I think, yes. I was like, of course. I went to shade 10% off, so use code James for 10% off when ordering with Morphe. I do not have a code with Morphe, of course, so use James. So I use this shade on the outer, what is this called? Outer edge of my eyelid to create some definition. And literally trying to put the color on the eye that I haven't even started on. So you see how it creates this beautiful blend between those two colors. I love those two colors together. It looks like a sunset on your eyelids. Next, I get a Morphe brush that literally has nothing on it and blend the edges because blending is key when it comes to eyeshadow. You can have the most inexpensive eyeshadow in the entire world, and as long as you blend it correctly, you can look like you've spent thousands of dollars on your makeup. That is key. Blending is key. So I go back with Code James on the crease because I really like that crease to pop because I have not a lot of lid space. Next, I'm thinking what kind of look to do. And I go in with the rose color called Mary on a bigger Real Techniques brush. I really love Real Techniques eye brushes. I think they're so good and they don't get enough credit as they deserve. They're so inexpensive and such good quality. So I take Mary in the crease, but not like build it up like I did like James. It's just one layer of Mary and more on the outer edge. Me thinking what to do because I have no look in mind. Then I see this beautiful purple. It's artistry. And I'm decided to do that for some odd reason. Even though I have never even touched this color in the palette. Then I go with this Packer brush from Echo Tools and take that color artistry, pack it on there pretty good, and put it on my lid. Did I really think I was going to do a purple look going into this video? No, I did not plan this at all. Have I ever done a purple look? No, I have never done a purple eyeshadow look. So I was actually really surprised with myself that I chose purple, but let's just go with it. So me realizing that I probably have to wet my brush for this purple to work, I get a NYX Dewy Finish Setting Spray and spray my brush. Then I go back and try again to see if that purple really pops with wetting the brush. And it did. It worked. So I recommend if you're buying the palette and trying to use the purple artistry, the glitter, I suggest you wet your brush before going on with your lid. This purple is so beautiful. Like, I couldn't get over myself. I'm actually surprised how good it looks with the shade Code James. Next, I take this Urban Decay brush from a Naked palette that I have. I really like the brushes that it comes with. And I blend the crease and blend the glitter in with the other color. Okay, so then I take the palette and I just get my finger and get all up in there with that purple. Because honestly, I think your finger is the best tool you can use to apply a glitter. It just pops out more and it's just better. You know what I mean? So I did that. Then I blend where the glitter and the color of the eyeshadow meets and kind of blend it together so it won't really be like a harsh line between the glitter and the eyeshadow colors. Then I grab that plain old elf brush that has nothing on it to blend the edges to create a seamless look. Then I grab the little package side of the Urban Decay brush and go into face and ring light as my inner corner highlight. These two shades together are so beautiful for inner corner highlight. I was kind of shook. So that is my eye look completed. Now I'm going to do the other eye off camera. Okay, so now I have both eyes completed. That took quite a while, actually. Now it's time for the face using LA Girl primer I actually really like this primer, and the Professional primer by Benefit. Those two combined is my go-to for face primer. The LA Girl is really inexpensive and it's like a silicone primer. I really, really like using it. So I really used LA Girl. It's like all over the face kind of primer. And then I like blend it all in with my fingers. Because, primer. And then I take the Professional and just put it where my pores are, which is usually around my nose and my T-zone under my nose is where I have my largest pores. Primer, I feel like it's really important because I've actually noticed that my foundation doesn't last that long when I don't have any primer on. So primer is good. Next, I take my CoverGirl foundation in shade M70 and the Jeffree Star X Morphe collection brush set thing. I use the foundation brush that comes in the set. I used it before filming this video and it's really, really good. So I really, really like it. And I'm usually not a fan of brushes with foundation. So it's really good brush. I take a one pump on the tiny sponge to create dots on half of my face. On like a quarter of my face. Not a quarter. What is this? 1/4? Yeah. On like one side of my cheek. I create like little dots and then I take the brush. It's really good shape. It's like, I like how fancy these brushes are. Like the design, the aesthetic, I'm like here for. So in circular motion, I blend the foundation into my skin using the brush. I really like taking my time blending my foundation because foundation is really important in your makeup routine, and if it's not blended right or if it's not done right, then your makeup can look like a hot mess, and I really don't want that. So blending for me, it's really important. Make sure you blend all the way down to your neck, around your crevices of your face. Then I continue blending until I reach my entire face. So blend, 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 yada yada yada. So for some reason the foundation gets really patchy around my, like on top of my lip, and I barely noticed that using this foundation like 5 times already, and I don't know if I'm a fan of it. I just like it because it's lightweight and the color, obviously. I had a habit of buying foundation colors that were too dark, and I like this one because it's a little bit lighter and more my skin tone. So like I did the other side, using the sponge, I create dots on my face, then taking the brush, blending it all together. I like actually really using this brush. I was actually very surprised that I fell in love with this brush so quickly. But it's a good brush. Can't go wrong with it. So, me noticing how patchy it is around my mouth, I try using the tiny sponge to blend it in together, but it wasn't really working. So I don't know if I recommend this foundation. I have to keep on trying it a couple more times to see if I did something wrong, or why this specific area, just this specific area, is patchy. It's probably because of my dry patches around my mouth, I guess I have to figure it out because I don't want to recommend anything that is not worth your money. Like these brushes are worth your money. And these are the best brushes I've ever had in my entire life. Like, literally. Like, Morphe killed it with these brushes. Morphe and Jeffree. They completely killed it. So, these brushes are the way to go. I don't know what the foundation I have to keep on trying it. So, I do the same dot method thing on my forehead. My forehead is surprisingly darker than my rest of my face for some odd reason, so I go a little lighter in foundation so it won't look completely weird, but I still apply foundation. So that's the same shade. So I don't even go near my eyebrows because I'm scared I'm gonna put foundation on them because of how large the brush is. And then I do the other side of my forehead. And I take the sponge and go in that little gap between my eyebrow and my hairline to get a more precise blend. Okay, so once I'm done blending all my foundation, 3 years later, I go in and blend more all the way down to my neck. Make sure it's all blended. And then I grab my e.l.f. 16-hour Camel Concealer in shade medium beige. Honestly, the shade is a little dark on me. It looks light on the bottle, but then like it oxidizes even darker. It would have been good if it was like that color that it originally was when you first put it on. But then it oxidizes into an even darker color, and I don't use concealer. I use concealer to brighten, not darken. So I really like a bright under eye, and I don't like that it oxidizes so much, so I need to find I need to go buy another shade. So, but it's $6 and you can't complain because it's pretty full coverage. So I'm just using the Jeffree Star Morphe sponge to blend it out underneath my eye because it's tiny and precise. So I like to blend it all the way up to my waterline and make sure everything's all blended. Then I blend the other eye. This concealer really doesn't dry down that fast, so you can actually take your time blending. That's what I like about it also. But besides the point of this shade, everything seems pretty good. So I apply a little bit more because I feel like I have a lot of darkness underneath my eye. So a lot more is needed. Then I continue to blend. I like to take my time when it comes to blending. That's why it takes me almost 2 hours to do my makeup sometimes. Because just blending is like mostly the entire makeup routine. Then hand cramps up when you're done doing your makeup. But I like to blend a little lower so it blends in with my foundation. Then I take the Allegro Pro Conceal in shade neutral. Yeah, it's shade neutral, not natural. And I put it in that little, like, what is that called? Where I feel that my under eye is the darkest, which is this little, like, divot on in my under eye. I put a little bit of this there to kind of brighten it up because I feel like the e.l.f. concealer wasn't enough coverage for my darkness. I honestly should get into color correcting, but it's too much work even though I use two concealers. So I like to make sure I didn't blend it. I don't know why the lighting made my under eyes look so weird, but my under eyes are not that bright, and I don't know what was going on with this lighting, but it was acting not good. So, me showing you a close up of what my face makeup looks like so far, and trying to get my loose powder that I was setting the camera on on top of. So I use my Laura Mercier translucent powder. This stuff is expensive, but it's so worth it. So when I run out of it, I'm gonna have to go buy some more because there's no translucent powder that is better than this one. And then I use the Jeffree Star Morphe powder brush. This brush is amazing. It feels like clouds under your eye. I kid you not, this is the best powder brush ever because it's like a little, like, it's shaped like a little dome, so it fits perfectly under your eye. And then I just swipe it. So I don't like to bake under my eye because my under eyes are already dry. So it's just gonna make them look cakey. But I do set them because the concealer will crease if I do not set. So I put quite a bit of powder. And then I decide to put some powder using my wet sponge more underneath my eyes and by my nose and under my nose because that's where I create the most oil, and if there's a lot of oil around that area it just makes me look like a greasy mess, and we do not want that. So I continue to apply powder. I feel like powder is really necessary in my makeup routine, so I put quite a bit of it. Even though I don't bake, I really don't get the point of that. I'm very confusing when it comes to makeup. I don't set the rest of my face with powder because it will make my bronzer, blush, and highlight look really patchy. So I just powder the T-zone and under the eye. Then next I fix the camera position. And I get my Physicians Formula Butter Collection X Casey Holmes. And this, she is so beautiful, by the way. I love her channel. You should go subscribe to her. The scent that comes in the collection smells like Hawaii. Like it smells like a paradise dream. I love the scent, the perfume. So I take the butter bronzer that comes in the kit. It's in shade deep bronze, I believe. And I take this Morphe brush that's like on an angle, and I like using this brush for bronzer. So I take quite a bit of it. This shade, I really like it. It goes well with my complexion, and I just put it on there. I put a little bit higher than I think you're supposed to because I naturally have I have large cheeks, so the more bronzer, the more higher the cheeks look. So that's why I apply it a little higher than usual. Then I like how it blends with the blush, so I love this bronzer. It's not as good as my Tarte one, but it's like up there in my top 5. bronzers. Next, I grab actually a powder brush to use for blush for some odd reason. I don't know why, I just like the way it looks. I don't use the brushes what they're specifically assigned to do. So I use this powder brush, start from the back and work my way up to the front of my face. So if it's a lot of product, it's going to be on the back of my face instead of a bunch of product in the front, making me look like a clown. Next, I take the Jeffree Star contouring brush to contour my nose. I actually really like this brush because it's tiny and precise. Gets up in the nose. I rarely contour my nose because I feel like it looks weird on me, but I did it today and I actually really liked how it looked, so I might continue to do it. It was surprisingly more easier than I thought it was, so really recommend this bronzer and the brush. Then I take this Bliss, that's the brand? Yeah, Bliss big powder brush and just vigorously swipe the brush on my nose to blend the contour together. So, me thinking what to do next because I don't know the steps of my makeup, I use the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. I love this setting spray, but it's so expensive. I don't know why. It hurts me financially. Then I take the next Dewy Skin. Dewy Skin? No, Dewy something setting spray because I don't like to be cakey and powdery. A dewy mist actually really helps. And I'm oily, so me using this dewy mist is actually really good. This dewy mist is really good. It doesn't make you excessively dewy. So I use this tiny Anastasia brush and go into this eyeshadow, like reddish shade that's in the Casey Holmes set collection thing, and I pinch it and use that for my under eye. What is it called? Drop shadow? Yeah. My drop shadow. I actually rarely do this also. I'm so sorry for the ugly faces that I make. I probably scarred you for life. I apologize. Then I use the other side of the brush to blend it. Make it look natural and seamless. Then I take Great Lash by Maybelline, you know, the iconic green and pink packaging. I feel like this is everybody's like 7th and 8th grade mascara that they started off with, but I actually like to use it for my lower lash line. I just hate how long it takes to dry and it gets all over the place, but I really like how dark it makes my under eyelashes look. And I don't use falsies because I have my extensions. Next, I take the Jeffree highlighter brush and I use the highlighter that's in the set. It's actually limited edition and it's a beautiful highlight. Look at that highlight. Wait, let me show you. What's poppin' highlighter? Like, are you kidding me? Look at that. That's drugstore. You know that's drugstore, girl. That whole set at Ulta was $19.99. Yes, $19.99. So go pick it up while it lasts. Because I really recommend it. Look at the highlighter. Then it's too much for me, so I have to dilute that with my powder brush. Then I take the Urban Decay brush and go back with the highlighter and put even more inner, what is it called? Inner crease. No, what is this called? I don't even know what this is called. Inner corner highlight. There it goes. And then I highlight my brow bone. I don't even have a brow bone, but highlight whatever that is. And then I do the same to the other eye. Then again, scarring you with my ugly faces that I make when doing this process. The highlight you need in your life. Yes, I do recommend it. Look at that inner corner highlight. Look at how popping that is. Then I take the mascara and mess up my entire look by putting it, by smudging it. This is why I have love and hate relationship with this mascara. I should probably get another one, but yes, look at how I messed up my look. Me trying to figure out what to do, then using this brush, realizing how much highlight is on it, wiping it on my eyebrow, then trying to rub it off. Didn't work. So I decided just to leave it. I really love this highlighter. Like, I can't get over it. Next, I'm using my Morphe lip gloss in shade Pixie. This gloss is so bomb. Like, yes, you need this in your life. This gloss was $8. Like, come on. Look at that. Look at that high shine. That gloss is $8. Can you believe that? My butter gloss from NYX is like $5 and it's like 25% of whatever is in the Morphe one. Like, it's so tiny. And I love this lip gloss. I don't even line my lips or anything. I just go straight in. Which I should have probably done, but I was already too lazy. So I put on like 50,000 layers of lip gloss and try to attempt to fix it, but there's no going back. And that is my completed look. I'm sorry for how long this video is. It's my first video and I hope you stay and subscribe. Yeah. So, thanks for watching. Peace out, homies.